This morning, our microphone is graced by a true master showman who has spent the last 5 decades shaping our island's music industry. Long before he captured the hearts of music lovers, he was known to the academic world as Senaka Pandukavya Nihal Weerasinghe, a brilliant mind who graduated from law college with first-class honours. Yet he chose to trade the courtroom for the stage. It was during those very law college days that he adopted the name Sohan Weerasinghe, a moniker that would define his legendary career from that moment onward. He went on to use 14 passports to carry Sri Lankan rhythms across the globe, from legendary international residencies in the 1980s to charting timeless original hits. He remains an utterly evergreen icon who marks his historic golden jubilee in show business this year. He requires no introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the legendary leader of the experiments, Sohan Weerasinghe. Sohan, it is an absolute honor to have you on Timeless Voices.
Thank you, Ramesh. It's a privilege to be here where it all started for me, SLBC and Radio Ceylon.
It is an absolute privilege, Sohan, and thank you for making the time to be here with us today. We've been so looking forward to this conversation and to dive into your incredible journey. Sohan, you come from an incredibly musical household. Your father played the violin, your mother played the piano, and your sister was a well-known singer. Growing up in that environment while tuning into the English service of the SLBC, then Radio Ceylon, how deeply did this blend of home harmonies and early radio broadcasts shape your childhood imagination and emotions?
Well, as my family was music-oriented, music was always there in our life 24/7. And at that time, we didn't have social media, YouTube, TV channels and stuff like that. So our only source of entertainment was the SLBC and Radio Ceylon. So that's where we got all information about what's happening around the world was through radio, as I told you. And coming from a musical background, Radio Ceylon especially shaped to influence my career and my love for music, because that's where all the all-time popular hits, evergreens, everything was played. So we concentrated on listening to the radio, and that influenced me a lot. And I'm very grateful to Radio Ceylon for that.
You achieved first-class honours at law college and even practiced as an attorney at law for a year before making the permanent leap into showbiz. Many would view leaving a lucrative legal career as a massive risk. Was there a singular defining moment on stage where the roar of the crowd made you realise that music rather than the courtroom was your true calling?
Well, as a law student, there was an absolute passion to become a lawyer. And that's what my parents wanted me to do. And then while I was doing that, I started, performing at musical shows and all that. And I felt that my true talent lies there, because I felt that I could entertain people, connect with the audience, and so provide some sort of enjoyment to the people. And the audience appreciation cannot be evaluated in terms of money. And I felt my true calling was there. When I passed out as a lawyer, I even practiced a major finance company as a legal officer for 1 year. Did some courtroom appearances too. But I felt the moment I got on stage, that is where I belong, because I felt that anybody could be a lawyer, but it's difficult to be a musician and to be an entertainer. I know, so funnily, somebody else would look at it in a different way, and my parents thought I'm absolutely crazy when I said I'm going to take a decision and entirely change my career and go into music full time. But going back, I have no regrets, and I think even if I had to do it again, Ramesh, I'll still prefer music to law.
It's incredible how thin the line is between the courtroom and the stage. And right as you made that leap during those early formative years of Sohan and the Experiments came a track that truly marked your sudden explosion onto the local live music scene. Sohan, before we spin it, out of all the melodies you could have championed during those early days, why did you choose Magi Oru Kanda Tirala? What did that specific song mean to you and the band as you were carving out your destiny?
Well, Ramesh, I always admired the fishermen who go out to sea, risk their lives. We didn't have any high-tech stuff, so they used to go in this catamaran all the way out. And the family used to wonder whether this man is ever coming back when he goes. And there were storms that come. And at that time, there was no way for them to be warned about even a storm. So they used to go and really put their life on the line for us. So I felt people write songs about Nurse Nona, taxi driver, all these things, but nobody has really thought of the difficulties that fishermen face. So I always wanted to do a song for them. I don't know what made me do it, but I really felt I was to be inspired because of the danger, the risk they took in order to make a living, which was very, very, and they live sometimes by the seaside in a thatched hut. So, and I used to think, my God, what a life and what a service they're doing for us. So that's how I wanted to do Orukanda Dirala. I never knew that it will become so popular. And later on when TV came and I did some clips on TV, people instantly recognized me. And one day in a beach at Kirinda, some people came and said, Sir, අපි සර්ගේ සින්දු ඇහුවා සර්ට අපි කියන්නේ මාළු මහත්තයා කියලා. I was so happy to know that Kirin, the fisherman, has seen me doing this song and he has been entertained, or he's been happy that I highlighted their lifestyle. So that gave me tremendous amount of happiness.
Let's take our listeners back to that explosive beginning from the archives of the Station of the Nation. Here is Sohan and the Experiments with Magi Urukandat Dirala.
Dirala, olle velanu kedila, innamut muhudu yaru turaka kanna jeevite. Mage birida nidhi maran sada ulbatu taran, ma sayurata yanni adapura vaagina pathum. Aadiyande, akadiyeni, daruwan rakinna aathata yanawa. Moruna, loku loku torun, oruwa pura udata gimi man. Daruan magabala city, desa vela dawas ke wala, mama devi beaten aapasu ennam, mage oru kandat dirala, kolle velanu kedila, innamut mudu yayi turaka ganna jeevite, mage birida nidhi maran sada tulbatu taran, ma sayurata yanni adapura vaagena pathum. Hodi hele. Gatanere, daruan purinda kada, mama devi piten aapasu ennam, mama devi piten aapasu ennam, mama devi piten aapasu ennam, mama devi piten aapasu ennam. Hodi hele hele ya, hodi hele hele ya. Hodi hele ya, hodi hele hele ya, hodi hele hele ya, hodi hele hele ya.
Welcome back. You are listening to Timeless Voices on the Station of the Nation, Radio Sri Lanka. If you are just tuning in this Saturday morning, my guest today is none other than the evergreen maestro himself, marking 50 glorious years in show business, Sohan Weerasinghe. Sohan, let's dive back in. Before forming your own outfit, you cut your teeth singing Western classics with iconic groups like Gabo and the Breakaways and the Moonstones. You have mentioned that you directly copied the management styles of Gabo Piris and Anasli Malevana. What were the most critical leadership or business lessons you absorbed from them that helped you eventually run your own enterprise?
Well, Gabo Piris as well as Anasli Malevana, both were band leaders long before me. I was just a musician. So I copied their styles of management because I knew I could learn a lot from them. Ramesh, being a musician is easy, but managing a band and being a leader to a band is an entirely different kettle of fish. So it takes tremendous amount of expertise to do that and to keep a band happy and vibrant and also work together as a team. I learned so much from Gabo as well as Annesley, both the good and the bad sides of management. And I realized whenever I do my own band, I'll follow the path that they forked out for us. And that's why they were very important, because all my expertise came from the two of them. And then when it came to managing my band, I further refined it and I learned all the best ways of managing a group. And it was a tremendous experience working with Annesley as well as Gabo.
In 1975, you officially took over the name of an unused band from Mercy Pereira, giving birth to Sohan and the Experiments. For 5 decades, you have managed to keep the identity of this household name intact, while uniquely giving your musicians total freedom to freelance or move on without rigid contracts. How have you balanced that open door flexibility with the strict discipline required to stay at the top of the industry?
Well, it's a very difficult task, because most bands today, 3 to 5 years and they disband due to various personality differences, financial factors and lots of things. So I made it a point to treat the band very fairly and in an equitable way. And discipline also was very important. So I made sure that if I had to pull up somebody, I was to call him aside and explain to him why he should not do this defectors professionally. So I used to make it a point not to embarrass them in front of the others. It's very important. All musicians need to be respected, and they are very temperamental. You have to put yourself in their shoes, see how you would handle it. And one of the things I did was to be very fair to them. Between band members, want to make sure that all are paid equally, because that causes a huge problem sometimes. Discipline is very, very important. I think 50% of the game is discipline. If you want to get work continuously, then you have to make sure that you make the organizers very happy. So I used to go that extra mile to be very flexible. Also, never lose your temper. And I'm a teetotaler, so that helped a lot. Even at 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm cold sober, because sometimes, you work under very trying circumstances. But it's very important to have a cool head. And because sometimes an organizer who is very nice could become very touchy after a few drinks and make various demands. So I try to balance it in such a way that I make him happy as well as keep the band also happy. It's difficult but not impossible.
And that unique identity is exactly why generations of Sri Lankans fell in light unconditional love with your music. Speaking of love, that brings us to a song that is woven into the very fabric of our musical history. Sohan, Adare is a track that instantly fills the room with nostalgia the moment those first notes hit. When you and the Experiments were recording this masterpiece, did you have a feeling it would become such a timeless anthem for romance on our island? What is the story behind choosing this beautiful track?
Well, it's amazing. I never thought it will become instant hit. I think a lot depends on the lyrics writer, Hemasri Halpita, who came to my studio and I said, Hemasri, I'm thinking of doing this love song, and I hummed it to him. And he had his customary cigarette, and then he took a notepad and he jotted down some stuff in that, and then within about 2 hours he had completed the song, and then he got me to hum again. Then he cut and chopped here and there, and before you know it, Adre was born, and I recorded it. It just became an instant hit. The funny thing, Romesh, is young people as well as old timers all seem to like it, and now it is played all over and all the bands have learned the song, and it's very, very popular at weddings. Any Sri Lankan function, just like Minon's Mangala Mohta is played for weddings, Sohan's Adri is played everywhere. And so when I have to do a guest spot, it's very easy because everybody knows the song. I don't have to rehearse with the band. I just go across anywhere and sing because every band knows the song. So it gives me a tremendous amount of satisfaction, and never in my wildest dreams did I think that it'll be such a popular hit.
Let's give our listeners that pure evergreen feeling on the station of the nation. Here is Sohan and the Experiments with Adare.
හදවතින්ම බැඳුනා මතකයි එදිනේ රාසේ දැනුනා ආදරේ හිත ඔබ ළඟින්ම රැඳුනා මට කියා දෙන්න සිතුනා තාමත් පවසා ගනු බෑ මහදූ ආදරේ අත දෙනවද ඔබේ හිත සංගවා ගනු බෑමි ආදරේ ගන්නට ඔබේ අත දෙනවද ඔබේ හිත සංගවා ගනු බෑමි ආදරේ කිසිවකුත් නොමැත අසලා කාටවත් නොමැත කියලා මාගෙන් කිසිදා නොඇසු නොකියූ ආදරේ සුමගනක් ලෙසින් දකිනා සුබ දසුනකි මන බඳිනා ඔබගෙන් තවනෑ ලැබුණේ පදනා ආදරේ 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 ගන්නට ඔබේ අත දෙනවද ඔබේ හිත සංගවා ගනු බෑමි ආදරේ ගන්නට ඔබේ අත දෙනවද ඔබේ හිත සංගවා ගනු බෑමි ආදරේ සිහිනෙනුත් ඔබව දුටුවා සැබැවිනුත් ඔබව දුටුවා දෙනතින් ඔබගේ දුටුවේ ලඳුනේ ආදරේ තනිකමෙන් පාළුවෙන් මා අද ගෙවන දිවිය සැනදා ලැබුණොත් සැනසේ හිමිවේ ඔබගේ ආදරේ ආදරේ දෙනවද ඔබේ හිත සංගවා ගනු බෑමි ආදරේ ගන්නට ඔබේ අත දෙනවද ඔබේ හිත සංගවා ගනු බෑමි ආදරේ
A beautiful melody there on Timeless Voices. I'm your host Ramesh Piris, and we are spending our morning walking through 5 decades of musical history. And my guest today is none other than a true titan of the Sri Lankan stage, Sohan Weerasinghe. In 1980, the band signed a residency at the Hotel Muscat Intercontinental in Oman that turned into a legendary 5-year stay. You noted that playing everything from jazz nights to Italian and German barbecues forced the band to massively expand its repertoire. How profoundly did that Middle Eastern experience transform you from a vocalist into a true master of crowd interaction and international show business?
Well, Ramesh, at that time, we have never been abroad as a band. So it was the first time as a band leader, I was taking a group across to the Intercontinental in Oman. It's a huge 5-star hotel at that time in Oman. Only 5-star hotel. So it was quite a challenge. Initially, we went for just 4 months, but the hotel was so happy with us. We ended up staying 5 years in Oman. That's quite a record in itself. Of course, we used to come back during Eid for a month to be with the families, but most of the time we spent in Oman. It was a wonderful experience. That is where I turned from a musician into an entertainer, because we did various things there. We had a country and western night where I had to take the mic, go to the audience and entertain the people, crack jokes and make them happy. And these are people, Americans, mainly expats, Americans and Italians, Germans, and the Americans were working in the oil fields in the Straits of Hormuz, which has now become very controversial. So when they come back, they used to bring me various types of music like country and western songs and German songs, Italian songs. So we expanded our repertoire because they gave us all the material material. Those it was on, they had LP records. So we learned to expand our repertoire and make our music more universal. That's where the band really became very confident of performing to foreign audiences, because it was 98% foreign. And we lived, played, and did everything in the hotel. We were the resident band and they treated us very well. That's how we ended up being there for such a long time. When I went there, I was just a musician. When I came back in 85 to Sri Lanka, I was actually a fully fledged entertainer. And that's where I got the confidence to perform in Sri Lanka. And there was a total change in my personality.
Your 1991 original composition, Whispers in the Sand, won Song of the Year, dominated the pop charts, and featured a brilliant music video filmed at the Mount Lavinia Hotel. Interestingly, your creative process for this hit was reversed. You composed the tune first, then wrote the lyrics. Looking back, why do you think that specific melody struck such an enduring chord with the public?
I loved to go to the beach side, and there was a property my uncle owned in a place called Vadua. I used to go there and be on the beach under the palm trees, under a coconut tree really, and just look at the ocean. Then I visualized like a lady coming out of the sea. And I was thinking, it would be lovely if I could compose like a love song. And I was thinking of the waves, the sand, and then suddenly I thought of Whispers in the Sand. And then I composed this melody. And then I came back on 2-3 weekends. When I came, I started pinning down lyrics. And then these lyrics just flowed. I put the whole thing together in a song. And Mr. Chandana Javadhan, who was the general manager of Mount Lavinia Hotel, said, Sohan, let's do a video. I'll sponsor everything. So then we did this video and it became very popular. I was so happy that the young and the old all liked it, and it's very sentimental. It's a love song. The lyrics came out beautifully and matched the melody. So as I said, I did it in reverse. I did the tune first and then did the melody later. Normally it's the other way around, but it worked, and looking back, I'm very, very happy about the song.
Sohan, you do a wonderful rendition of Andy Williams' Speak Softly. And I'm a little bit kind of undecided whether to play Whispers in the Sand or Speak Softly. So you have to...
I think let's do Speak Softly Love. It's a song, it's a theme song from the movie Godfather. From the day I saw Marlon Brando in this movie and hearing the song, I was really inspired, and I thought that Andy Williams did a super job. And I thought I must do my own rendition of Speak Softly Love. So my first attempt at doing something like that. It came out quite well, and it's a beautiful song. I think you should just listen to it.
Wonderful. Let's hear it on the Station of the Nation, Radio Sri Lanka. Here is Sohan Weerasinghe, his rendition of Speak Softly.
Speak softly, love, and hold me warm against your heart. I feel your words, the tender trembling moments start. We're in a world, our very own, sharing a love that only few have ever known. Wine-colored days, warm by the sun, deep velvet nights, when we are one. Speak softly, love, so no one hears us but the sky. The vows of love we make, we'll live until we die. My life is yours, and all because you came into my world with love, so softly, love. Wine-colored days, warm by the sun, velvet nights, when we are one. Speak softly, love, so no one hears us but the sky. The vows of love we make, we live until we die. My life is yours, and all because you came into my world with love, so
softly, love.
This is Timeless Voices on Radio Sri Lanka. Thank you for filling your morning with us, celebrating an incredible Golden Jubilee milestone this very year. My guest today is none other than the legendary frontman of the Experiments, Sohan Weerasinghe, and we have plenty more stories to share. Stay with us. You mentioned that the performance holding the deepest personal meaning for you was singing The Way It Used to Be to win the All-Ireland Observer Talent Search back in the mid-70s. Take us back to that night. How did it feel for a young law student to conquer that stage?
It was very challenging, and I had come from the hills of Guruthalava to Colombo, and within 4 to 5 months I was appearing on this contest. It's an all-island contest. So I never thought I'll come to the finals, but I came to the first 10, and then I had to sing this song at the final, and the judges for Harold Semratna, Minon Fernando, Dalreen, Trevin Fonseca, people like that. And the guy who came in second, Larry Landis, also sang the same song. So it was a competition within a competition as to whose version they would like more. Thank God the judges seemed to like my version, and then I ended up winning the Observe Talent Search, and the prize money made me able to afford my first scooter, which is a Lambretta 75cc, and so I used to go to law college on a bike thanks to the Observe Talent Search.
Your music has taken you across the globe, using up 14 passports to perform for nostalgic Sri Lankan diaspora in Australia, Europe and North America. Along the way, you cross paths with global icons, including a completely and unexpected encounter with Barry Gibb of the Bee Gees in a London music shop. Can you share that story with our listeners and tell us what it feels like to connect across cultures through the universal language of music?
Well, this happened in a very funny way, because I took my band to Dubai for the Lanka Lions dance. Then 3 of us got an invitation to perform in London with a band called Black Velvet for one of the Sri Lankan shows. So myself, my female vocalist Judy De Silva, and my guitarist Neville Davison, we jetted off to London from Dubai itself. While we were there for about a week, one day I went to the west end of London. There's a place called Denmark Street, which is off Shaftesbury Avenue, which is entirely where you get all music shops, where you have guitars for sale, second-hand amplifiers for sale, drum sets and all that. So it's really a musician street called Denmark Street. So I went there along with Judy and Neville, and while we were buying some drum sticks for my drummer, Tilak, suddenly a white limousine stopped by, and a long-haired guy got off and came straight into the music shop and went to the guitar section. I knew he was a musician, but very nicely dressed and looked very VIP because he came in this huge limousine. Judy told me, "My gosh, that's Barry Gibb." So I was amazed, and I said, "Are you sure?" She said, "Yes, it is Barry Gibb." I said, "Why don't you talk to him?" She's quite bold that way. She walked up straight up to him and said, "Excuse me, are you Barry Gibb?" He said, "Yes." And who are you and what are you doing here? I said, "I'm from Sri Lanka." "Oh, you're from Sri Lanka? I've been to Sri Lanka incognito." So she said, "Yes, I'm from Sri Lanka." She quickly came back to me and said, "Well, he's Barry Gibb," and he said he has been to incognito. I said, "No, what he meant incognito is, Judy, that he has come in disguise, sort of, because he's a well-known figure." So I said, we had some tea packets with us. So I said, "Judy, why don't you give it to him?" So she went back to him, and he was so very nice and accommodating. So he took the tea, and then she said, "Would you mind if you take a photograph?" He said, "Oh, sure," he said, "Please." So 3 of us walked up to him. He took some photographs with him, and they are very memorable now. And then, of course, he went on to become a huge hit in the international, singing songs with Barbara Streisand and all that. And so in fact, sometimes when these pictures are seen, some people don't believe. They think we have gone to the Wax Museum somewhere. They can't believe it's Barry Gibb. But it was an amazing experience, and you won't believe it, Ramesh. In about 15 minutes later, he was gone. And it was just, one of those things that happened and made a huge impact in our lives.
Wonderful story. You are locked into Timeless Voices on the station of the nation, Radio Sri Lanka. I'm Ramesh Piris, and if you are rolling along with us this Saturday morning, my guest today is none other than a global ambassador of our music scene, Sohan Weerasinghe. You have won numerous accolades over your 50-year journey, including Showbiz Personality of the Year. Sohan, reaching a golden jubilee, 50 uninterrupted years at the top of show business, is a milestone very few artists ever achieve. When you look back at 1975, what are your thoughts on the sheer endurance and the legacy you are celebrating this year?
Well, it has been a long road, a challenging road, and there are no shortcuts. But to get there, you have to have a passion for whatever you're doing. So I think somehow I have this love for music I had from my early family days. The musical background helped me a lot, and I knew if I want to make a real career out of it, I had to put in a lot of my time into it and also be creative, be entertaining. So all these factors helped to fashion the last 50 years, and I have no regrets, Ramesh.
5 decades of sheer endurance, and along that journey, you have collaborated with the absolute giants of our cultural landscape. That brings us to 1998 and a very special track titled Dream Woman. Sohan, this song carries a unique history because it was composed by none other than the late legendary emperor of Sri Lankan cinema, Gamini Fonseca. Out of all the original tracks presented to you over the years, why did you choose to take on Dream Woman? What was it like stepping into the studio to bring a cinematic titan's musical vision to life?
Well, it happened in a very surprising way, Ramesh. Suddenly, I got a call from Gamini Fonseca and he said, Sohan, this is Gamini. And I instantly recognized his voice. And I said, yes, sir. He said, well, I'm directing a film where I need a guy to do a song for me. And he has to have a very manly voice. So I did a little bit of research and they told me, you are the person I should contact. So can I come and see you? I said, of course, sir. And then within, I think, a matter of few hours, he was there. So he came into the studio and first thing that surprised me was his size. I actually expected him to be a huge giant. That's how I visualized him on the screen. But he was almost a head shorter than me. And he said, yes, I know why you are looking at me in a funny way. I know I look so big in the screen. I said, yes, sir. Then he said, no, that's just a perception that people have of me. And then he said, I'll tell you an interesting story. He said, when I was doing Rampage with a lady called Indira Jonkles, she was about a head taller than me. So Manik Sandasagar, the director, had to put me on a beer crate so that our levels look similar. So don't worry, I'm not surprised by what people think of. That's why I give very few interviews, because they expect to see a giant and they end up seeing me. So we had a great laugh and we bonded together immediately, and then we went down and he had written the lyrics. He said, I want a nice song written for this, a nice song which you should compose for me. It's about an old army retired general. He's reminiscing about his life, and across the Mahaveli River he sees this beautiful lady on the other side, and they end up having a platonic relationship where they never really meet, but he admires her. So this song Dream Woman is the way I visualize her, and I want a very pleasing melody that people will like. So that was the brief. So I said, sure, I'll try. I was wondering whether I could come up to his expectations, because this man is an absolute icon. But he kept dropping in very casually whenever there was time, and he was so nice that when you go to the studio, I had an underground studio and you have to take your shoes off, and I said, sir, your shoes? Of course. And he's always, I was scared to even tell him, because the way I visualize him. But then he said he was such a nice, accommodating guy, and even my domestics in the house were thrilled to know that Gamini Fonseca is coming here, having a cup of tea and listening to the music of Sohan. So anyway, it was a learning experience, and after about a month of recordings, he was a bit of a perfectionist. He got exactly what he wanted, superb lyrics, and that's how Dream Woman was born.
A giant in the industry, small in stature. Yes. A fascinating chapter in an unparalleled career. Let's hear it now on Radio Sri Lanka. Here is Sohan Weerasinghe with Dream Woman.
Are you the reality, or just the obsession of my mind? Are you the myth described in scriptures? Are you what poets fail to rhyme? Are you the song never written, or just the painting in my mind? Are you the reality, or just the obsession of my mind? Your eyes cast moonbeams on the ocean. Your laughter lends chorus to the hymn. Your lips bend pink upon the lotus. Your smile brings angels down to sing. Are you the reality, or just the obsession of my mind? Dream woman, are you the reality, or just the obsession of my mind? Sweet inebriation, you are vision to the blind, fantasy to hearts that lost their motion. World over, what seekers fail to find. Dream woman, are you the reality or just the obsession of my mind? Dream woman, are you the reality or just the obsession of my mind?
Welcome back to a morning of nostalgia and insight on Timeless Voices, broadcasting across the island on Radio Sri Lanka. We are charting a legendary 50-year journey through showbiz today. And my guest is none other than the master, mentor, singer and legal mind turned musical icon Sohan Weerasinghe. Let's get right back to the conversation. The modern industry is drastically shifting, with digital downloads replacing old school production and artificial intelligence now generating tracks and vocals at the click of a button. As an evergreen entertainer whose entire career relies on reading the room, maintaining eye contact and projecting raw human emotion, what are your thoughts on the present music scene? Can AI ever replicate the instinctive live soul of a true Sri Lankan entertainer?
That's a very complicated, complex question, because AI is making such huge strides. God only knows what's going to happen in the future. But right now, a lot of musicians are using AI as a tool, and it's helping them tremendously to do their lyrics and stuff like that. And they come out with various tunes. However, I don't know whether they'll ever be able to replicate the human factor, which is very important when it comes to creativity. I have managed to avoid it. First of all, my daughter just says, Tati, please don't go into this AI nonsense. And she's dead against, based in New York. She says everybody's using this. But I can still say there's a good side and a bad side. Can be a very helpful tool, but I don't think you should lose your originality. Every artist should have something creative and call its own. So if you use AI and use AI to help you, cannot really claim originality because it's done by somebody else. So I think it's a good servant but a bad master. So you have to be very careful. Using it is okay. Some people find it very useful and it's a bit of a shortcut. But I think when the human factor is concerned, I feel if you want to do something from the heart, it has to come from you. And I'm very careful. If I ever use AI, I'll be very careful and very mindful of the fact. But of course, if it's useful to people, I think you never know, because just like the iPhone and lots of technology like FaceTime we have here, a few years ago, we never thought it'll evolve to this extent. So you never know what AI can do even in the future. It could even spark off a world war if there's a misunderstanding. So it's a dangerous tool to play around with. You have to be very circumspect when you're using it.
You made it clear that retirement isn't on your radar, but your approach is evolving. You recently teamed up with your longtime associate Krishanta De Silva to launch SK Entertainments, aiming to manage and propel younger acts like the band Arrow. Why is dedicating this next chapter of your life to nurturing, shielding and creating employment for the next generation of musicians so vital to you?
Well, it happened like this. Krishant and I have been collaborating for many years. He works as my personal assistant. We do organize and present a lot of shows in Sri Lanka. So suddenly I got this idea I must give something back to the music scene, because eventually come a time where I have to retire. So I thought I should impart my expertise and guide a young, talented band. So then Aro came along and Krishant said, let's try them out. And we got them to rehearse in our studio, and I felt they had tremendous potential. So they had originally a Oriental repertoire. We got them to broaden it to Western music, and they are done really well. Then we added a female vocalist called Sanali Lihansa, and sings very much like Korean and has that type of repertoire. So once we put this band together, within the short period of 1 year, they are doing really well in the Western music scene. They rehearse regularly at my studio, and they play for cocktail parties, dances, weddings, and getting immensely popular. And they have done 1 or 2 overseas trips to Australia, and they are really maturing into a very good band. And I've been watching them. I'm very, very happy, and I feel they make a tremendous impact in the future. And I think Krishanta and my guidance will help them to fashion their musical career in the future. I believe that they become a very, very popular band, one of the most sought after bands in Sri Lanka within the next 2 to 3 years. That will be RO.
And with those profound reflections on the past, present and future of melody, we bring the curtains down on this very special edition of Timeless Voices. Sohan, as you celebrate your historic Golden Jubilee this year, thank you for giving us your time, your music and your stories today. You have given Sri Lanka 5 decades of pure elegance on stage, and we wish you nothing but the absolute best as you continue to guide the next generation of musical stars. It has been an absolute honor having you in our studio.
Thank you, Ramesh, for having me. For me, it all started here. SLBC, Radio Ceylon, Vijay Korea, Vernon Korea, I remember all those names. And it's a privilege to come here and record in the Nandamalini studio. That itself is a great honor. And I'm very happy the place is preserved in the same way. It's like I have so much of nostalgia when I come here, because I think we should preserve this studio as it is, because it's like going back in time. Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure. Before we say our final goodbyes, we leave you with a song Sohan has performed beautifully across the globe. When you look back at a young man who walked away from the courtroom to follow his heart, who managed a legendary band with total freedom, and who traveled the world on 14 passports, there is only one song that truly captures the spirit of his legacy. To say thank you for 50 evergreen years, here is Sohan Weerasinghe reminding us all how he did it my way. A broadcast of this nature is always a beautifully orchestrated team effort. My sincere thanks goes out to our technical and production team who made today's program seamless. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in and letting us fill your morning with these timeless melodies. Until we meet again next week at the same time from 10 to 11 a.m. for another journey into the archive of song. I'm your host, Ramesh Piris, signing off from the station of the nation, Radio Sri Lanka. Have a wonderful music-filled Saturday ahead.
And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friends, I'll say it clear, I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I lived a life that's full, I traveled each and every highway and more, much more than this. I did it my way. Regrets I had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do and saw it through without exemption. I planned each charted course, each careful step along the byway, and more, much more than this. I did it my way. Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when I bit off more than I could chew. But through it all, when there was doubt, I ate it up and spat it out. I faced it all, and I stood tall and did it my way. I loved, I laughed, I cried, my tears, my share of losing. And yet, when tears subside, I find it all so amusing to think I did all that, and may I say, not in a shy way. Oh no, 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 not me. I did it my way. Oh, what is a man? What has he got? If not himself, then he has not to say the things he truly feels, and all the words of one who lives. The record shows I took the blows and did it my way. I did it my